This is an issue that is gaining momentum, but it is unimaginably cruel if people investigate how this would be conducted. If I'm a Democrat, I'm literally constantly hammering that point. Anyway, we'll do Morning Joe. We'll do like the reactions, but like in the immediate aftermath of the debate, and there's a couple other like high notes that I want to get to, but like you could see when Biden woke the fuck up in the second half, which was surprising because I thought it was going to be worse. The shit that he cares about were so stupid. The shit that he actually like popped off on were so incredibly insignificant. Like, oh, presidential scholars hate you. It's like, bro, nobody gives a fuck about presidential scholars. I am a fucking politics nerd. I do this shit for a living. I cover this shit literally 10 hours a fucking day, 365 days of the goddamn year. And I have never heard or have ever even remotely cared about presidential scholars saying like, oh yeah, Donald Trump sucks. Like, that's insane. That's insane, brother. That is so crazy. Like, that is, like, what are you saying? And he was so invested in that meta. He was so invested in the 4-star general said you called the veterans gay and weak. and those were where he like popped off. I feel like he was trying to provoke a reaction. I know, but it's like, do it on stuff that people care about. Okay. Do it on stuff that people care about, because that's not a good way to bring that up. January 6th is a decent way to try and bring that up. Okay. To be like, you're a loser and you're a sore loser, which is the worst kind of loser. And you're willing to throw American democracy aside specifically for your narcissistic desires. Anyway, Harry Sisson was low-key funny in the Pierce show. Yeah, I love that he attended that. I wish I could talk to him more on there too. He said Hasan is a big fan of mine. No, so I suspect he's seen my criticisms of him, but he popped off on the Patrick Bet-David guy. Anyway, let's look through the Biden and Trump debate border and immigration policy, which was again a own goal.
Immigration and border security. President Biden, a record number of migrants have illegally crossed the southern border on your watch. Overwhelming border states and overburdening cities such as New York and Chicago, and in some cases causing real...
Like, this is, I'm putting my wonk hat on, okay? Imagine I'm a Democratic Party loyalist who's a wonk. I'm working with the Brandon administration. They're like, Hasan, what do we do? A lot of people are going crazy over this immigration hysteria. This is not right now, but like, let's say 8 months ago, 9 months ago, right? 10 months ago. Okay. And they're like, yo, what's happening? Like fucking Greg Abbott is like shipping migrants. I've talked about this before. I immediately come out and showcase all of the, data-backed talking points. Immigrant crime is not a real thing. It is a manifestation of Republican hallucinations. Okay. It's hysteria. It is no different than the crime panic that went around all the way from local TV, all the way up to fucking network television that the Democrats flubbed on as well, right? Migrant crime is not a real phenomena in the data sense of the word. It's not like immigrants, undocumented immigrants, are responsible for less crime per capita than documented U.S. citizens are, okay? That's just facts. As far as drugs coming over the border, immigrants are bringing drugs over the border. Also bullshit. The Department of Homeland Security's own data shows that drugs are coming over the border from regular ports of entry. Oftentimes, in the majority of cases, in the regular border apprehensions, right, it's actually being trafficked by American citizens inside of their own vehicles. It's not the abuelas that are fucking, shoving fentanyl in their pockets and running over the border. We're talking about, millions of fucking pounds of drugs being shipped into the United States of America. So all of this is based on a falsehood, and Republicans are lying again. So that's what I would roll with. That's what I would roll out with and say, Donald Trump is fucking racist. He hates Mexicans. He hates Guatemalans. He hates Hondurans. This is the backbone of this country. We're a nation of immigrants. We would not be what we are if we didn't have all of these, if we did not have a steady flow of immigration into this country, which is true. Okay, that's a fact. But the Democrats didn't do that, right? They, on the policy and politics front, went with complete capitulation to the right-wing framing on the issue. Immigration in previous years had been perceived as an economic problem, which in some respects it is, right? But now Republicans have leveled it up. Now they say it's a nationality problem because immigrants aren't just stealing your jobs. They're also stealing your money from your pocket and, you know, raping your wives and sisters and whatnot. That's unimaginably racist. And it's also, just like the immigrants are stealing your jobs, a complete falsehood. Okay? Complete falsehood. So the fact that there's any sort of capitulation to that right-wing framing is an immediate L. Right? I gave you guys the example. I gave you guys the analogy of Medicare for all with Bernie Sanders versus Donald Trump. Obviously, if Donald Trump turned around and was like, I love Medicare for all, absolutely zero people would go, yeah, that guy's being honest about Medicare for all. I'm going to vote for him because he's the Medicare for all candidate. No, everyone would go, see, even Donald Trump agrees with Bernie Sanders. We love Bernie Sanders. That's what people will say. And yet, the Democrats fucked up on that front. And every step of the way, Biden has leaned further and further into the right-wing framing on immigration being a problem of national security. Immigrants are coming in to do terror. Immigrants are coming in to do rapes. Immigrants are coming in to do crimes specifically. These are military-aged men coming over the border, not to work, not to create a better future for themselves, not because they're escaping violence or dire economic circumstances or political violence, but instead coming over to the United States of America with one purpose, and that is to do crime. That is ridiculous. It is ridiculously racist, right? And it's also untrue. Not only is it racist, as many racist things are, it's also untrue, as all racist things are. So Biden is already coming into this conversation with with an absolute loser position, right? Because he's already ceded ground to Donald Trump on the immigration front. And beyond that, he still tries to run this narrative like, oh, the Border Patrol liked the bill. Yeah, they did. They liked the bill that Biden put forward because it was the Trump bill, right? Until Donald Trump said, fuck this bill. Because I want to use immigration as a talking point in the re-election. And Biden and the Democratic Party thought that that hypocrisy will work. Of course it doesn't work. You're fucking stupid. Democrats try to do this all the time. And if you bring up the Border Patrol Union, thinking that they're going to say, yeah, we did originally sign off on this fucking bill, you're an absolute idiot, because they immediately came out and tweeted, we have never endorsed Biden and we will never endorse Biden. Trump was able to say on that stage, oh, you mean the Border Patrol Union that endorsed me for re-election? Just an absolute whopper. Just an unimaginable L. So even in his coherent moments, he's still fucking failing.
Real safety and security concerns.
Here it is.
Given that, why should voters trust you to solve this crisis?
423,000
Because we worked very hard
likes.
to get a bipartisan agreement that not only changed all of that, it made sure that we are in a situation where,
like, that's your big W, that you try to do a bipartisan agreement. It's so stupid.
you had no circumstance where they could come across the border with the number of border police there are now. We significantly increased the number of asylum officers. By the way, the Border Patrol endorsed my position. In addition to that, we found ourselves in a situation where when he was president, he was separating babies from their mothers, putting them in cages, making sure the families were separated. That's not the right way to go. What I've done since I've changed the law, what's happened? I've changed it in a way that now you're in a situation where there are 40% fewer people coming across the border illegally. That's better than when he left office. And I'm going to continue to move until we get the total ban on the total initiative relative to what we can do with more Border Patrol and more asylum officers.
President Trump?
I really don't know what he said at the end of that sentence. I don't think he knows what he said either. Look, we had the safest border in the history of our country.
That was so so fucking good. I mean, this was in the early stages too of the conversation, so he just like hit him with that. It was great. Light clap back, move on, address the talking point.
The border, all he had to do was leave it. All he had to do was leave it. He decided to open up our border, open up our country to people that are from prisons, people that are from mental institutions, insane asylum, terrorists. We have the largest number of terrorists coming.
Like, look at his face, bro. Look at his face. Look at his fucking face. Look at his fucking face. Are you joking? What are you doing? Fix your face, man. Blood realize he's not built for this? No, dude. Blood doesn't realize anything right now. Bro is not realizing anything. Bro is on to nothing right now. There is absolutely nothing going on in there.
Into our country right now, all terrorists all over the world, not just in South America, all over the world. They come from the Middle East, everywhere, all over the world. They're pouring in, and this guy just left it open, and he didn't need legislation.
And then they try to talk about like how, no, actually, like you're letting in terrorists. When you were president, you let in terrorists into the country from the border. What are you doing? Not a single person believes that, okay? Even if it was completely factually accurate, which it isn't, okay? No one is like, yeah, that's right. Actually, Trump is the fucking non-border security candidate. Come on, dude. Like, that's this whole thing. Build the wall. Remember that? What the fuck are you doing?
Because I didn't have legislation. I said close the border. We had the safest border in history. In that final couple of months of my presidency, we had, according to Border Patrol, who is great, and by the way, who endorsed me for president, but I won't say that, but they endorsed me for president. Brandon, just speak to him. But
Brandon,
look, we had the safest border in history. Now we have the worst border in history. There's never been anything like it. And people are dying all over the place, including the people that are coming up in
Thank you,
caravans.
President Trump. President Biden?
The only terrorist who's done anything crossing the border is one who came along and killed three, under his administration, killed an Al-Qaeda person come in his administration, killed 3 Americans.
Sick, man. No, definitely. Yeah, Trump is weak on the border, actually. And also, yeah, no, Al-Qaeda members are coming over the border. You know, it's totally valid. This is a real national security concern because Al-Qaeda members are jumping the border. They're border hoppers. Every person that's like literally crossing the border are not asylum seekers. They're Al-Qaeda. That's great. It's a great take, man. Thank you. Big own. Democrats are so fucking stupid with this like hypocrisy baiting shit. Hypocrisy baiting is actually definitely good, right? In terms of like making dumb guys listen to your position. All right. But you can't hypocrisy bait on issues as a politician when those issues are pivotal issues that you're supposed to be on the other side of. It's so stupid. It's like literally being like, oh, yeah, you said you were going to cut Social Security and you never did, Jack. I'm going to cut Social Security. Would you ever say that? Would you ever hear a Democrat say that? You would. Barack Obama did try to do that, by the way. But like, you know, like it's akin to that. You said you were going to cut Social Security and you didn't, Jack. I'm going to be the one who cuts Social Security. I'm going to cut it so hard, I'm going to kill all the fucking elderly. It's good stuff, man. Assume his position and then what? Hypocrisy fish on the other side of the fucking argument?
American soldiers, killed 3 American soldiers. That's the only terrorist that's there. I'm not saying that no terrorist ever got through, but the idea they're emptying their prisons, we're welcoming these people, that's simply not true. There's no data to support what he said. Once again, he's exaggerating, he's lying.
Look, this is a point where he's not even supposed to bring up the Al-Qaeda shit. He's supposed to go, you are wrong, you are lying, this is complete panic, okay? This is complete hysteria. All available data shows consistently that undocumented migrants are responsible for less crime per capita. Here, per capita. That means they are doing less crime. If the entire country was undocumented immigrants, the crime rate would be lower, okay? Less crime per capita than documented U.S. citizens, natural-born U.S. citizens. This is a lie. Okay, you are lying.
Fine.
President Trump, staying on the topic of immigration, you've said that you're going to carry out, quote, the largest domestic deportation operation in American history, unquote. Does that mean that you will deport every undocumented immigrant in America?
Another dub for Brandon here, by the way. This is a W for Brandon. This is an issue that is gaining momentum, but it is unimaginably cruel if people investigate how this would be conducted. If I'm a Democrat, I'm literally constantly hammering that point. You want to deport these people that have lived here for 10 plus fucking years? You want to rip them away from their families? You want to set up concentration camps and you want to fucking drive them into concentration camps? That is the Holocaust, son. That is what you are trying to fucking do. Okay? That is literally what he's trying to do, by the way. It's not even a joke. If followed through on the policy proposal, this is Nazi fucking Germany. Okay? Straight up. Like you are trying to put every undocumented migrant that has lived here for, 5 years, 10 years, whatever, into concentration camps and deport them somewhere. I don't even know how. I don't even know where. That would require an unimaginable amount of resources. That would require having a permanent police state, which we already do, but like beefed up. Okay? People with guns knocking on doors and going into people's houses and violently apprehending tens of millions of people that are currently contributing to the economy, that have children that are American citizens, that don't speak any other language, culture, they're just Americans, okay? You are acting as a GOP talking head right now. You are literally, oh God, no, you're not serving the top of the hour ad break with this bullshit, okay? 21-month subscriber. This is just such a bad, ad break bait. Hee. Good job, dude. Good job. Good try. Okay, but you flubbed it. You flubbed it harder than Brandon. You flubbed it harder than mother freaking Brandon. Okay? Joe Brandon style flub right there. Ridiculous. Ridiculous. Trump is live for the first time since the debate. Hold on. All right, so let's get back to the fucking Trump debate, border and immigration policy before we move on from some of the highlights or lowlights of last night.
Including those who have jobs, including those whose spouses are citizens, and including those who have lived here for decades. And if so, how will you do it?
My goat.
Just 1 second. He said we killed 3 people. The people we killed are al-Baghdadi and Soleimani, the 2 greatest terrorists, biggest terrorists anywhere in the world. And it had a huge impact on everything, not just border, on everything. He's the one that killed people with the bad water, including hundreds of thousands of people dying. And also,
like, that is, dude, Donald Trump right there said immigrants have killed hundreds of thousands of Americans. Okay? Like, that statement in and of itself is like, that's it. It's over. What are we doing here? Donald Trump said Joe Biden opened up the border to like rapist, criminal, murderer, serial killer immigrants, and the American murder rate skyrocketed due to this migrant crime. Hundreds of thousands of Americans dead. What are we doing? What are we doing? What is going on? I hate to be that guy, but he was talking about bad wars, not immigrants right there. Oh.
People with the bad water, including hundreds of thousands of people.
Bad wars?
Dying. And also killing our citizens when they come in. We are living right now in a...
Oh, he was saying he killed hundreds of thousands of people with bad wars. My bad. I misunderstood. I thought he was... I thought he was talking about fucking migrant deaths.
Rat's nest. They're killing our people in New York, in California, in every state.
My mistake. We are talking about immigration. We are talking about, and he quickly turns back and says, like, immigrants are responsible for so much death and destruction in the country. So I thought maybe he was saying Biden is responsible for 100,000 immigrants being killed. Because of the bad border. Did he say bad wars or bad border? Or did he say bad? What are we doing? Why are these the 2 options? What is happening? What is going on? I'm losing my mind a little bit. Aren't you? I feel like this is mind numbing. This is unimaginable. What the fuck is happening? Oh my God. I speak fluent MAGA. He meant border, brother. I speak fluent MAGA. Slow down the video. He says border. Which dystopia do you like? Not this one. I am not liking this one. This dystopia, not great.
In the union, because we don't have borders anymore. Every state is now a border. And because of his ridiculous
CNN transcript, he's the one that killed people with the bad water, including hundreds of thousands of people dying, and also killing our citizens when they come in. Yeah, that makes no sense. Anyway, let's continue.
Insane and very stupid policies. People are coming in and they're killing our citizens at a level that we've never seen. We call it migrant crime. I call it Biden migrant crime. They're killing our citizens at a level that we've never seen before. And you're reading it like these three incredible young girls over the last few days. One of them, I just spoke to the mother, and they just had the funeral for this girl, 12 years old. This is horrible what's taken place. What's taken place in our country, we're literally an uncivilized country now. He doesn't want it to be. He just doesn't know. He opened the borders. Nobody's ever seen anything like. And we have to get a lot of these people out, and we have to get them out fast because they're going to destroy our country. Just take a look at where they're living. They're living in luxury hotels in New York City and other places. Our veterans are on the street. They're dying because he doesn't care about our veterans. He doesn't care. He doesn't like the military at all, and he doesn't care about our veterans. Nobody been worse. I had the highest approval rating for veterans taking care of the VA. He has the worst. He's gotten rid of all the things that I approved. Choice that I got through Congress, all of the different things I approved, they abandoned. We had by far the highest, and now it's down in less than half because he's done all these great things that we did. And I think he did it just because I approved it, which is crazy. But he has killed so many people at our border by allowing all of these people to come in.
Dude, oh my God. Meacham, Blue Wave, didn't like the way he stuttered during the debate. Saying he's a stutter is just full-on reality denial. There's like 5 things you need to be able to do as president, and at the top of that list is public speaking. I don't know what to tell you. He's not working a forklift in a warehouse. His public speaking capacity matters. Yeah, it's not a stutter. A stutter doesn't make you literally flub on an abortion alley-oop and turn it into migrant crime.
President
and it's
Biden,
a very sad day in America.
President Biden, you have the mic.
Like right here, in this conversation, you're supposed to say the obvious thing. How? The fucking moderators asked that question. How? How do you intend? Do you think it is not cruel or unusual and outright un-American to put 20 million people in concentration camps and deport them? These people have been living here for decades. They're married to American citizens. They have children that are American citizens. They're working as active members in the American economy. They're a pivotal part of American society. Don't you think it's cruel and unusual not to offer them some form of pathway to citizenship like Ronald Reagan did? Like here, I'll hit it on a fucking like Democratic Party centrist ass attitude too. That's what Ronald Reagan did, and he was right to do so, and we should do that as well. There is a lot of appetite in this country to do the right thing, and I know that the American soul, the American heart is in the right place on this issue, and your way of thinking is leading us down a very scary path. We fought a war and won against the Nazis. And as president, I will ensure that we will never become that. That's why I'm running again, to restore the soul of the nation like I did last time. Charlottesville was my pivotal moment. You know, that kind of thing. It's not me. I'm not running for president. I'm saying this is what Biden should be saying.
Every single thing he said is a lie. Every single one. For example, veterans are a hell of a lot better off since I passed the PACT Act. 1 million of them now have insurance, and their families have it. Their families have it because what happened, whether it was Agent Orange or burn pits, they're all being covered now. and he opposed his group of.
Like they moved away. They moved away from one of the most damaging propositions that Donald Trump is voluntarily bringing to the table at a time when there is seemingly some appetite for it from the American population. The percentages are terrifying. There's like 60+% of Americans that say mass deportations for all undocumented immigrants is actually a good idea. The only reason why they're saying that in polls right now is because they're not thinking about what this looks like. Because when Republicans actually do put policy into action, we know what that looks like. We know that that looks like children in fucking cages. When Democrats put policy into action in the same way, by the way, in the same white nativist way, you see Border Patrol whipping fucking, Haitian black asylum seekers on the border. That's not seen as a positive by the broadest subsects of American society. When Republicans actually fucking put the pedal to the metal, people change their attitude very quickly about it. This means that if there is actually a strong, resilient counter to these positions, then we'd be looking at very different poll results in general. And I know that as a fact. You want to know why? Because under the Trump administration, he did do that. He did push the fucking boundaries on what was permissible. And that was seen as very unpopular. Okay? When he actually did put the fucking kids in concentration camps and did family separation as a deterrence measure, Americans hated that shit. When he dangled the DACA recipients and their legal prospects, when he put them in legal limbo, Americans responded in such a negative way that he had to actually just kind of drop that position. Because at that point, 90% of Americans, the highest percentage of Americans, said, no, these guys have to get a pathway to citizenship. Because there was a lot of people at that point that were actually covering it. They were actually covering the story. There was a lot of defense from the Democratic Party. There was a lot of retort from the Democratic Party, humanizing the DACA recipients. And without that defense, without any kind of counter proposal, okay, you are not going to see, if the Republicans are running the narrative on immigration, then yes, Americans are, primed to be more reactionary. Economic volatility and economic instability historically creates a more reactionary populace.
Oppose that. We're also in a situation where we have great respect for veterans. My son spent a year in Iraq, living next to one of those burn pits, came back with.
Now they're not even talking about the most damaging aspect of his policies. So bad. Talking about his son